Welcome everybody to the Blerdlines. This is your man Cam. With me as always is
Hi, unmuted Cam 2.
as well as
the human snow shovel known as Josh. I will shovel your driveway for $20 like old school little kids used to do. When no kids out today trying to shovel snow. Lazy bastards.
and rounding us out.
The professor, the Night's King professor, because I am over here in north of the wall, the lands of always winter. We got like at least a foot of snow. I went out there just to throw some trash out, and the snow was all the way up to my knee. And I'm 6'1", so.
Yeah, I ain't dealing with that.
We
bro.
are back. Yeah, we are back.
You dress like you dealing with it
on the East Coast.
I was gonna say you dress like you dealing with it.
I got a hoodie on, just like yours.
Your hood is over your head. You cold.
Y'all enjoy it now out there on the West Coast, not having winter come barreling down on you. You know, the cold winds rising. You enjoy it now, because in 50 years, that whole place gonna be underwater, and I'm gonna be like, you know what? It's still cold, but California is underwater. No, I'm joking.
climate change, and we are here talking about Masters of the Universe. The trailer just dropped. This is the Amazon MGM Studios run. It's going to drop in June. It has an interesting cast of characters. It has a storied story just to get here. All of us have watched the original Masters of the Universe, 1987, by the way. Some of us are young enough that watched it in the theaters. And it is pure 80s magic. So, but we're going to watch the trailer real quick and, we'll talk about it on the other side.
All that stuff that only exists in legends and bedtime stories. Talking tigers, spaceships, and magic swords that can make a man as mighty as a god. Where I come from, that stuff is real. Why did you send me away?
I wanted you to be safe. So I sent you to a place I knew that they'd never find you.
This obsession with nerd stuff and sword things, it's not a good look for human resources.
I know it sounds crazy, but that sword is gonna show me the way home.
Sir, you can't do that.
Don't worry, the sword's mine.
Hang on, it's about to get weird.
What am I supposed to do?
Take the sword. You protect them.
Snake Mountain. I gotta say, when Dolph said it, it sounded better. That's all I'm saying.
Agreed. Hard agree.
I also
believe
say
Dolph
not
has the
using,
power.
not using Kanye for that. I know why, but still, it would have worked well. It could have been. Might as well. just
that actually would have
that would have worked. It would have worked
from a marketing standpoint. That would have elevated that trailer a lot, a whole 100%. Lot more.
Totally
they
work.
Clearly
totally
were not willing to throw those bucks. I don't even think it has anything to do with Kanye. I think it's just they don't want to spend money on having that for their trailers. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, you know what? Hey, why not? It looks interesting. You know, again, we're at a point now where we can create anything now from a CG standpoint. So that part's already past the veil. Like we know they can build all the stuff that we want to see. Now it's more about, is it actually going to be good? Like script wise, shout out to Idris Elba taking them checks. Like, yo, he be popping up in the most random shit for just like, he was like in like Cats and he's in He-Man. Like, he's just like, why not? I don't know if this is going to be good or not, but I'm here.
And he works as Man-at-Arms at this point at his age. And for that character, like he works as that character. I didn't all the time I kept thinking like, man, it's so much more obvious to me now as I'm watching how derivative the whole thing is of Robert E. Howard's stories, his sword and sorcery stories, especially Conan and Cole. But that not standing, I don't know what to think of it except that it could be okay. I don't know. I mean, it's Masters of the Universe. I mean, what can it be other than kind of a very goofy, corny thing? Like I don't know much what it could be other than that. If it tries to be anything other than that, it fails. I think that's the whole reason why the 80s one, despite it being as bad as it is as a film, it works because it isn't taking any of that stuff serious. You know, we have characters called Evil Lynn and Man-at-Arms. Like this is, you know.
And Manny Faces and Mechaneck.
Yeah. So we're not taking this film seriously, obviously, because we know what it is. We knew what it was. The original Masters of the Universe. I thought it was funny though that they had the pronouns he, him on desk for he, man. You know, so it was a little tongue in cheek, you know, a little reference right there. I'm curious though. Our main character, does he realize he's from another planet? Why was he sent to Earth? Or is he cognizant of that and just couldn't figure a way to get back? Or was his memory wiped and someone told him back
I think he's aware of it because the Queen basically explains to him, you know, to explain. It seems like she's explaining to him why he was sent away.
Okay.
But to me,
and he's trying to get back there. Apparently, he's clearly trying to get
back there. Yeah.
So he's clearly aware of where he comes from.
To me, it just kind of, I don't know. It could be just me being a curmudgeon, but I'm not really interested in a fish out of water He-Man story. Like, you know, if it was just up to me, I would rather see a fully realized Eternia with Adam sort of, you know, being the prince and doing whatever you want to write him doing. And then, you know, him discovering the sword and becoming He-Man.
In other words, you want a real sword and sorcery adventure.
At least realer than what that trailer seems to depict is I guess what I'm saying. Yeah.
Did you watch the Masters of the Universe cartoon that was on Netflix? I think it was.
Who didn't? Kevin James joint. I didn't finish it. Yes,
Kevin Smith one. Yeah, the one that was a little bit off the beaten path of like not like a typical He-Man story, but it was a He-Man story kind of a thing.
Yes.
And I feel like that took a tone that was kind of interesting because it was different than I expected it to be. Yes. But I think for this one, it's a lot more like, again, this is literally my teacher at school worked on He-Man the cartoon. And so he would tell us stories all the time about like how much of a 22-minute show was stock footage and how much was like actually
I was
animated.
Say,
and it was
probably 85% of that thing was stock footage because it was just all 100%. He-Man like this, and then like this.
Yep.
And then like this.
Yep.
And then you're running that way, running that way.
I will say, I was like, this gives me Dungeons and Dragons feel, like just goofy cast of misfits getting together to save the world. And also, I can feel like if this was on Sci-Fi Channel, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I don't know why I feel like that. I know the CGI.
Wow. Yeah, it has that whole tone, tone of a very.
Yeah.
I kept thinking mid 2000s.
Feel better about this.
Mid 2000s. I mean, I honestly don't feel anything for it because it's a He-Man story. Like, if it were something that was like a little bit something of a different kind of sword and sorcery, like if this was Conan.
Different story. I'm in it.
I would be more engaged, more looking at it from that looks corny versus that looks like something that is ripped from Howard's story. I think what's unique about it is sword and sorcery, but it's like sword and science and sorcery, right? So there's the technology as well as the mysticism and the power, those sword and sorcery archetypes of a magical sword, a dynastic prince, an evil sorcerer, and again, instead of Tulsa Doom, you have Skeletor. But I think that it's just a little. Right now, for me, no expectations is good for this film when it comes from me, because I have nothing to really aim at it other than I'll watch it once it's available on streaming, because there's no way I'll pay to go see this.
And it looks like an Amazon, like direct to Amazon movie. That's like, they've been cranking out a bunch of movies, and it feels like that. Like, it feels like this is going to be on Amazon Prime, and like I said, it'll be entertaining, but I don't need to see this on the big screen. I think
it'll surprise the way that Dungeons and Dragons surprised. Remember the more recent Dungeons and Dragons with Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez?
Yeah.
I thought that was really entertaining. Yeah.
It was up the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Super entertaining.
Yeah.
Super entertaining.
But it worked.
And I think
because it was up the middle.
And it's interesting because the directing team, they're previously known for animated stuff like Missing Link and Kubo and the Six Strings. And then one of the writers is the dude that has been kind of on a run lately. I can't say a good run, I'll just say a run. But he was the one that did Across the Spider-Verse. He did Shang-Chi. He did Mortal Kombat. But he also had duds like Wonder Woman 1984. So it's like, I don't know what to expect from the people that are putting this together. So like, it just, I don't like, again, I imagine this being an Amazon Prime movie, like Head of State with John Cena and Idris Elba, or the Playdate with Reacher and freaking Kevin James. Like, it just has that feel.
These are all titles that I've seen, but literally they've like completely gone out of my thought at all. Like, you said Head of State, and I thought Chris Rock. I thought Chris Rock and Bernie Mac. When you said Head of State, immediately I thought Chris Rock and Bernie Mac running for president. I did not think about John Cena and Idris Elba's movie until you said it. Wow. And that was 20 years ago. From 20 years ago.
Yep.
The one thing that jumps out at me is there's something interesting that you guys pointed out before about the comparisons with Conan and Kull the Conqueror. To me, I don't necessarily see it that way, given the how He-Man came about. I mean, these guys, the R&D guys at Mattel, I think it is, basically just grabbed parts that from disparate action figures because they needed to pitch something, or they would have gotten in trouble for not having anything new for whatever the new quarter was. And so they basically just took random parts and sort of just slapped together a doll and came up with the story on the fly, which doesn't to me seem like it's more derivative of Kull the Conqueror and Conan, just because they were like, oh, okay, here's an AirPod and here are some keys and we're gonna put them together and make AirPod keys. Like that was literally the way that they described the genesis of the character.
That might be the case, but when I say that it's derivative, I more so mean it's inspired by. You can't get around the fact that the sorcerer, the undead sorcerer, Tulsa Doom, has a skull face and burning eyes, same as Skeletor. All I'm saying is that inspiration was there. I'm not saying that they literally, and besides, Robert E. Howard is known as the father of sword and sorcery in literature.
Sure.
This is a sword and sorcery story. Even if that is the origins of how they made the toy, the inspiration is still coming from somewhere. That's my point.
Yeah. And I would say also too, like one of all of us age Generation X or whatever, we grew up in an era where like all of our media was trying to sell us something. Like it was blatant, right? Every cartoon that came out had a toy to attach to it. So all of our cartoons that we're watching were basically glorified commercials for all that we got.
Yes. Transformers came about the same way. Right.
100%. GoBots, all of that. So for He-Man, same with that thing. So I think it will be interesting because going back to, we said this before about previous 80s retreads like Tron and other movies where just like you're making these movies based off of nostalgia from the 80s, but from an audience right now. And I don't see if, like I said, I'd be really curious to see if your nephew was like, oh, that looks interesting, I want to go see that. Or my nieces and nephews, if they saw it and they were kind of like, oh, I want to go see that. So I'd be curious to see the newer like gen now, would they look at this and be like, oh, that looks interesting. There's a big green cat and some Skeletor guy. And like, I think I've seen that meme where he's running away all the time on Instagram. So I'm curious to see again, who are they making this for? Because like all of us, we will see it, like just like Cam said, streaming, Netflix, Amazon. But are we going to go to the theater to pay money to see this? I don't know.
No way.
Just like Mortal Kombat was on.
If this is good, it's gonna gain legs like the old one did when it went straight to video, and it may have a cult classic. Yeah,
right.
That's how cult classics work. Yeah. And this could be a cult classic, but I think it'll make some money. I think it definitely has the potential to be successful. It's just I
was gonna say it's talking to us. So there's going to be a section of us that's going to go entertain it. Because I entertained G.I. Joe when I first heard G.I. Joe was a movie. I was like, oh, okay, I got to go see this. And then afterwards, I was like, I'm never doing that again. However, there's going to be somebody who's going to be like, you know what? I did grow up watching He-Man. This looks pretty fun. Let me go check it out. Somebody, so I don't know if it's going to be a good or bad movie. And just like we all agree, we don't have any expectations because it's He-Man. And we just going to go in there and be like, all right, they did it. Cool. They did a He-Man movie. It's a big deal. We have nothing. We're not putting this no pedestal.
I have extremely low expectations based on the shot of water. It was kind of like,
and if it
zero expectations.
If it works, we'll come back and give it its flowers. If it doesn't, we'll be like, well, we do. So,
zero expectations. It's He-Man.
Yep, I'll leave it there. And thanks for rocking with us. And we are out. Peace.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, you idiots.